Hello, everyone. Welcome. Glad you guys are joining us for this session today. We're going to be talking about a super hot topic, one that's on a lot of people's minds. Um, no short part due to Facebook recently changing their name to Meta. I think gives a small indication about the kind of attention that is growing today in terms of the metaverse. So today we're going to be talking about building blocks in the metaverse. We've got a great panel joining us today. We'll get to the introductions in a short bit. So today we're really going to be exploring several areas. We want to explore a little bit more from our expert panel about the type of infrastructure requirements, the application requirements, and what does the metaverse and MetaFi really mean. I think we're going to be talking and hearing a lot more about MetaFi in the coming weeks and months for sure. Definitely going to be one of the big topics in the year 2022. And I think it's a quite a broad term, so it covers a lot of different areas. It's looking at infrastructure as well as a broad range of different applications across DeFi, gaming, NFTs, and a number of others. So let's bring our panel on, and we'll get to meet the experts that are joining us today. Here we go. Hey guys, welcome. Great to have you with us. You guys can turn on your mics and cameras as well if you'd like to. Hey.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey guys.
Hello.
Cool.
Hello,
Thanks a
everyone.
lot for joining us. It would be great to have a quick round of introductions. We'd love to learn a little bit more about your own backgrounds as well as about your respective projects. Maybe we'll start with Xander and Top Goal.
Hi, everyone. I'm Xander from TopGo team. Great honor to be here. So TopGo is a blockchain-based platform where football fans can collect and trade officially licensed NFT collectibles of their favorite football players, clubs, and moments. And personally, I have been a mobile football game developer for more than 8 years. Thank you.
Great to have you with us, Xander. Maybe we'll go to Lee Lin from Decentral Games. Hey Lee, how's it going?
Hey, good, Sammy. Thanks for having me here. Hi, everyone. Happy New Year in the first place. Quick intro. Decentral Games builds free play-to-earn games in the metaverse that give players economic freedom through aligned incentives, self-custody, and delegation of yield-bearing metaverse assets. Currently live, Decentral Games play-to-earn metaverse, the poker game, Ice Poker is the name, generates revenue for the DG Treasury through NFT mints, secondary sales, royalties, activations, and upgrades. Thank you.
We're definitely big fans of Decentral Games. I think Ice Poker has been a huge success. I think it's the first time we're seeing very large numbers of users in the metaverse for the first time outside of like the big events that have been happening. We'll talk a lot more about that. Ori, how's it going, man? Great to have you with us.
Hey, thank you. Great to be here. How's it going? Happy New Year, everyone. My name's Ori. I'm the founder and CEO of NF Trade. Been in crypto for quite a few years, since 2012. I've been doing many different things in the field, but recently got hooked on NFTs last year. Last year, sorry. So in May last year, we launched NF Trade. We are a multi-chain NFT marketplace that's currently live on 5 different blockchains, with the intention of adding at least 5 more in the next few months. And happy to be here and tell you more about it and NFTs in general.
Thanks a lot for joining us, Ori. Hi, Andrea. How are you?
Hello, Sammy. Hello, everyone. Happy New Year to everyone. And my name is Andrea. I am the advisor of Second Life. And Second Life, brief intro. Second Life is a social metaverse project, and we lay emphasis on the connection of the social networks. You can become your ideal avatar and do many real world things in very different virtual spaces like virtual exhibitions, playing movies, dancing, shopping, etc. And we actually now have a virtual exhibition hall, which was launched in September for celebrating the BSC's first year anniversary. And in October of last year, we reached 1,000 personal spaces for users to play. Additionally, we also closed our seed round in October, which was led by the BSC 1 billion fund and Binance Labs. And these days we're running a BSC Christmas and New Year campaign in the MVB Pavilion that we built for the BSC. So actually, welcome everyone to come and play. So yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah, we've been streaming these sessions in Second Life. We've had like lot of users having a great experience watching and joining the Christmas and New Year activities inside Second Life Metaverse. Um, Awesome to have all of you here. So I think to go back to the topic of this discussion, right? It's like building blocks in the metaverse. But if we take a step back, I think metaverse has a lot of different meanings, or it's quite a broad term, and kind of I think in some ways evolving as well. So would love to hear from you guys. Like, how do you describe what the metaverse is? Um, Maybe we can start with Andrea first.
Sure, absolutely. So well, when we talk about describing the metaverse, I think that we can take a couple of movies as examples, right? So we have like Free Guy or Ready Player One. So these are movies that are very immersive, and it's our inspiration, what inspired the Second Life team to think and understand the metaverse. So let's just take, for example, Ready Player One. The metaverse over there, it must be an immersive virtual world that is realized but with some kind of medium such as a virtual reality or augmented reality glasses, etc. So where people over there can work, live, make friends, earn money, and also spend money. The metaverse it's a supplement to real life and a parallel existence with the progress of science and technology. Just as many people spend a lot of time in games now, many people will spend a lot of times in the metaverse in the future, we believe. So people need to have a virtual identity besides the one in the real world and live more freely in the virtual space and do things that cannot be realized in reality. So in my understanding, actually, on one hand, the metaverse had its own timeline. So even if the me in the virtual world goes offline, my life in the metaverse still continues. When I go online again, I will have another new day, which is consistent with the real world. So it's very, very similar in this aspect. However, on the other hand, the metaverse has its own tokenomic system where there is a unique economic model and corresponding lifestyle. So players can actually earn money through life in the metaverse and have private assets. Blockchain on this aspect plays a fundamental role in the metaverse. The operations such as payment, asset exchange, and private property need to be completed on the blockchain. So coming back to Second Life, we actually build and integrate a full set Web 3.0 protocol that is socially oriented. We will also generate great amounts of content to make Second Life a rich platform for virtual parallel lives for everyone. So our team is actually highly skilled and has a deep understanding of the tokenomics, both of which it will come handy in our wish to offer a billion users the platform or the ideal platform to work, live, and also have fun. So we really see this as a parallel environment to the real world on top of our existing reality, which is very, very exciting and keeps driving and pushing us forward when we do our developments at Second Life.
That's super interesting. I think you raised like a lot of great points here. I think a lot of people kind of have a misconception about metaverse. Like, what are the different technologies involved in the metaverse? And it's quite broad. So it's the crypto and blockchain part is one important part of it. So it enables uh, different types of experiments around economic models and all kinds of things that you could do from an economic and ownership perspective inside the metaverse. But then you've also got a lot of other technologies that are not really related to crypto and blockchain, but equally important for the full metaverse experience. So those are like graphics processing, physics engines, a number of other concerns around the scalability side, and then a lot of other things on the social interaction side as well, like the AR, VR, and a lot of other tooling there. Leland, maybe we can go to you as well. Interested to hear from you. I know you got Decentral Games, one of the real pioneers in the metaverse gaming space. You guys been going at it for a while now. We're also wondering, in addition to your definition of the metaverse, what do you think the final form of the metaverse would look like, considering where we are today and where we're going?
Sure, Sammy. Yeah, I'd like to also mention that you have been very supportive, you and your team, and then that's where we are today. Yeah, so yeah, partially thanks to you. I mean, like you must have contributed a lot to our success. So yeah, in my view, metaverse is a convergence of virtual and the physical world. It's a platform for a stimulator environment and with mixed reality. So instead of attending a Zoom meeting or socialize in a physical world, basically you attend your events in the metaverse in the form of avatar. Um, in the case of the Central Games, our community comes to our metaverse to socialize with their friends, play games, enjoy the music performed by DJs, earn a living through games and also through their real work. As you might already know, the Central Games has been crowned as the first metaverse employer, which our teams literally spend their time in the metaverse working, attending to customers, ushering them to the gaming venues, or solve technical problems, and they are loving it. One of them even left his high-profile job from one of the big four accounting firms to join the Central Games to work in the metaverse, and he's absolutely loving it. So we are seeing this trend right now, where people enjoy a decentralized world, having owning their the sovereignty of their identity, and also the flexibility. Having to work in the metaverse, your hours are flexible. You don't have to be always in your physical, tip top outlook. Your avatar represents you, so on and so forth. So coming back to your questions, how would the full form of metaverse would look like? I believe a more immersive one include VR and also perhaps AR as well. But having said that, I think it would take a while before the technology could catch up. Now we have 5G, and then we also, the network provider is already working on 6Gs. I think that will take another 5 years. So apart from network, you need those peripheral devices to be ready as well. All these gadgets. That, in my view, will be a full form of metaverse in terms of user experience and the immersive experience.
Yeah, there's some interesting points. I think definitely, like, especially for the VR hardware, although it's becoming increasingly consumer in terms of like availability, but I think for people to really be spending long periods of time on those devices currently, maybe it's not, there's still quite a bit of development and advancement to be done
Right.
before people are spending like extended periods of times with those types of devices on. But I think definitely I learned something quite interesting recently about decentral games. So you mentioned something about work in the metaverse, and that has become a quite a trend recently, where of course in the current global context, like people colleagues are not really able to meet in person in a lot of countries, so they are meeting in the metaverse, like having meetings in the metaverse, or even if it's just socially or whatever. But there are a lot of work related team meetings happening in the metaverse. But besides that, I also learned that decentral games is actually an employer in the metaverse, like employs people to work in the metaverse, which is super cool. Could you tell us more about that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, apart from those people who really work as a host, to help people, to help the gamers to onboard, we also allow guilds to make profits, to make businesses out of our metaverse. So basically, they recruit gamers or players to
I think we might have some connection issues, Leland. Let's come back to you in a second. Sorry about that. I think we might have some connection issues here. Um, let's jump to Ori. Ori, it was interesting. Like NFTs play like kind of a super important role in the metaverse. Of course, we're familiar that a lot of metaverse projects have had different types of asset sales, like land sales and other types of assets, mostly as NFTs. How do you see that space evolving, and what's kind of the role of NFTs inside the metaverses going forward?
Yeah, I think actually the NFTs are the reason why Metaverse has finally got to the mainstream is actually because of NFTs and not vice versa. I think that the rise of NFTs is what made everyone seem to be more interested in Metaverse, because obviously Metaverse was a discussion before NFTs were even were ever mentioned, right? But now that metaverses are growing in popularity and actually being developed in a much higher scale, we're seeing all these different worlds selling land and selling avatars that could be used. And because of the limited supply and the actual value that these lands and avatars hold, then we're seeing obviously an explosion in that market. We all know about the Decentraland lands and Sandbox and other really great projects like Victoria VR, which were working very closely with where these lands go quite like crazy. So yeah, we're seeing a huge growth in that sense, as well as game items and other items that can be used. I think that's really great, because that's what separates that from any normal game where, well, of course we had different skins and different kind of items that could be purchased on different stores in existing games. But I think that having real ownership of these items, decentralized ownership, gives it a lot more scarcity, and also obviously a lot more value. So at the end, I think this is what plays a major role, and we're gonna see, I think, growth in that sense, where a lot of newcomers are going to have to buy their own gear, because right now it's a very limited amount of people that are participating in it.
That's super interesting. So I think, like, obviously, NFTs plays foundational kind of infrastructure type of role within a metaverse context. But like, zoom into that a little bit more. I think even if we look at the type of NFT infrastructure required in the metaverse, they're interested to hear what are the kind of um, differences that you expect, or the kind of development required. For example, I know NF Trade is working on a number of these. So like NFT to NFT swaps, for example, which is quite new, not really done in any other marketplaces as far as I'm aware, but could become increasingly important in a metaverse type of context. And then some that we don't even really imagine today. So I was interested to hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I think that with the growth of NFTs and the usage among the different metaverses, we're going to need more tools in order to interact with NFTs, not just buying and selling them. One of the first things that we saw a need for is those swaps between NFTs. This is how NF Trade has started. We basically, when we realized that these are going to be used as game items, for example. A lot of time when you play games, you get the same item twice. What you want to do with it, other than selling it, might be swapping it with someone else who might have the same item. So we developed a safe environment for these trades to occur. Sure, we're going to see even more ideas for tools that can be integrated that are not just trading and buying. One thing that we're seeing now is staking of NFTs. So that's another thing that's that we're building right now, and the ability to stake an NFT and either earn some currency or something else. You could earn NFTs as well. So yeah, there are multiple ways. I think in general, the main development that should happen is the ability to use your NFT in different metaverses, and that is something that whoever will have more support for more NFTs will be the winner, and that also is for different blockchains too.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a super important point there. So it's ultimately, I think the freedom of movement and choice for the users is quite important. So eventually, I think it becomes less important which is the native chains or which are the chains supported in any metaverse or game, and eventually will be multiple chains, and most of the users it will be eventually seamless. So the NFTs would be able to persist state changes regardless of which chains they're on, but giving the users the flexibility to be able to use their preferred marketplace regardless of which chains are supported and those kind of things. So definitely that's a super interesting area of technology development that is happening right now. Um, Super cool. Thanks a lot for sharing these insights, Ori. Xander, was given your expertise and focus in the sports domain, especially, I think today we see a lot of interesting things happening in the metaverse. We talked a little bit about the work type of like work meetings, but obviously like entertainment type of use cases are hugely popular. Like a lot of games, like the decentral game, great folks at decentral games are building. Was interested to learn more about what's really happening in the sports context around metaverses and what we can expect to see there.
Of course, Sami. So the top goal is now help to build every possible scenario related to the sports in the metaverse. So there are two approaches for us for now. The first one is signing football stars, clubs, and leagues in the real world, and it is a very important step to connect the reality to the metaverse. And the second is to design the algorithm which can simulate a football match as precise as possible. So in our algorithm, we have more than 100 attributes to describe the behaviors of the virtual player in the field, like spirit speed, turning speed, jumping, power of shooting, preferred position in the field, mental awareness, or even the tendency of making an error. So we connect every attribute in our algorithm and calculate 10 times per second to perform a match. So we started this even before Top Goal, and by now it's ready to launch. Uh, yes. So in short, everything is random in the game and in a simulation, but everything is reasonable. So we make Top Go different from the other sport projects because we are doing real virtual game simulation other than building a fantasy-like thing. So with these two approaches, we are ready to set up one of the crypto games based on NFT collectibles as well as P2E mechanisms. So Top Go collectors will be able to build their own ultimate dream squads and eventually compete against other users around the world through GameFi applications. So turning their NFT into digital assets and expanding their utility beyond their uses as collectibles.
That's super interesting. Very excited to see the game and to see these experiences. I think that's kind of a also super exciting and new area. I think today seems like Top Goal is definitely one of the pioneers there. But could imagine myself being like big football fan, uh, some of the different possibilities for of where sports and the metaverse can intersect. So being able to see like virtual museums or even being able to potentially at some stage meet players or those kind of things inside metaverses experiences are super exciting. um, would love to jump to the topic of around scaling inside the metaverse. So if we think about where we are today in terms of the technology across a number of different areas, definitely lots of great developments and advancements happening across a number of areas. But if we look at the total number of concurrent users that are inside metaverses today, or the most popular ones, it's not really that large, especially given where we really believe the growth is heading towards. And some of the large indications like Facebook renaming to Meta, for example, I think is a very clear indication of how they see the future. But I think we're still at early stages, especially in terms of the technology and user scaling. So would love to get some more perspective from maybe we could start with Andrea around what are the current technology limitations and what are the key areas that developers should be paying attention to in terms of user scaling from a technology perspective?
That's a very good question, Sammy. So, in my opinion, there are different ways of scaling, this metaverse experience. So, first of all, when you enter a metaverse, it's the environment itself. This environment, it's rendered in you can say in real time. So, for the rendering technology, you need to have a very powerful not say graphics processor, but in terms of server wise as well. So it might be more on a centralized server for the rendering part. However, when you're talking about, and you've also mentioned the user experience and the people entering and the number of people, the participants as well, we as at Second Life, we like to be as open as possible with our partners. So we actually develop, or we actually connect with various protocols. So we have, for example, for decentralized ID, we use the ENS app, or we also partner with Project Galaxies, which is powering on-chain credentials. So it makes it easier to developers also to utilize these third-party technologies to enter our metaverse. We also utilize different SNSs, such as you can connect to everyone with CyberConnect on Web3 or Show Me. So to have these more easy interactions with people on the metaverse. So a lot of these technologies are being developed by experts in the field, right? So what we actually want to become is more of a platform for platforms or for protocols to enter and be able to interact and to have a great experience, right? But if you're talking about specific technologies, I believe that we have a lot of very top-minded people in the industry that are coming in, and they are building, with various experiences, their best apps, and so we want to give a space for them to actually enter and build with us. So this is what we think, the industry, or at least Second Life, is here for. We want to be as open as possible, because we believe that each team does its own thing the best. So we want to focus on the vertical aspect of bringing an overall platform for everyone, and each protocol can focus on their vertical aspect of these different interactions.
That's very insightful. Thanks a lot, Andrea. We would share the same question to Xander as well. I believe, especially in the context of sports, probably there's other technologies that require maybe new designs or even new approaches, and especially for things like a physics engine, for example, in which when you have many people inside the same environment or in like a same kind of virtual space, in order to prevent like objects passing through each other and those kind of things. What are the kind of considerations that your team is tackling in terms of building out some of these technologies in the metaverse context?
Yes, because we are designing our own physical engines to describe everything that happens in the field. And there are only two limitations for now. One is technical, and the other is based on reality. The first one is it's very hard for us to rendering 3D games in the browser, because we are using phones to browse everything like NFTs, the games play, which mostly are running on the HTML. But maybe there are thousands of different movements for players in the field in a football match. I mean, we have more than 3,000 of them. But if you load everything in the browser, it's almost impossible for nowadays the speed, data speed, and the spaces. There will be more than like 2 GB. So that one is the limitation for now. But I think it can be solved in the near future, like 5 years, 3 years. We will have the 3D football match in our phone. And there's another limitation that is, I think, is somehow a sad story that for most of the sports fans, there is only one champion in a certain game. So most of the fans will end up with some regret every year. And but it's a good thing in the metaverse is it's a new world and there are some new rules and it's virtual games and even like virtual game or virtual world. So we can organize some championship cups like virtual World Cup, something like that, and that can be held every month, and that will help to the growth of the metaverse ecosystem for us, and we are working on that. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thanks a lot, Zander. We'll also share the same question to Lynn, because I know after the launch of the ICE Play to Earn Poker, there's been very significant user growth that Decentral Games has experienced. So we'd love to hear the insights on the kind of challenges and focus areas that your team is kind of looking at when thinking about the technology scaling side to support that large user growth.
Yeah, sure. Um, yeah, I'll agree with Xander and also Andrea on the graphic limitation. So that's something that we've been dealing with and also optimizing all the times. A lot of users, yeah, they do not quite understand like why are like blockchain gamings or decentral games per se has such graphic, like less poly. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why it's because we need to optimize the visual, and then that's like what Sander just says, it's impossible to have like those high graphic or high poly graphic in 3D real-time blockchain games or environments. So apart from that, the other main scaling issue or rather concern we have right now is transaction. When it comes to gaming, transaction needs to be near real time. And yeah, that's what we've been working on as well, like with chains, what kind of on chain or layer 2 that will be able to provide faster and also near real time transactions and also low gas fee. So this is the current issue that we're working on.
Got it. Got it. Thanks a lot. Yeah, maybe let's go to a different topic. So I think as more people start playing in the metaverse or start getting familiar with the metaverse, I think there's a little bit of a learning curve as well for a lot of people. Maybe it's a little bit disorienting initially, like take some time. I think initial experiences for a lot of users is like a little bit lonely or antisocial experience because you do need some time to get used to the different types of tools. But of course, those will improve a lot over time as well. So Ori was wondering, like, what are your kind of feedback around metaverses experience that you've had, and like, what are the type of areas for improvement there that you think that are gonna kind of significantly improve the metaverse, like from an adoption perspective?
Yeah, I think one of the main things that we've focused on is really to simplify the experience as much as we can in terms of the seamless integration that users can have whenever they're trying to we focus on the NFT aspect, right? So we really, the main thing for us was first of all supporting more chains, because people who are buying NFTs on different marketplaces end up going to the largest marketplace in the space currently, that only really has support for Ethereum, and realize that the NFT that they purchased is not available there. And so that was one of the main things that we figured we should fix, because if someone buys an NFT on Tezos or on Solana or on Avalanche, they shouldn't really search for where can I use this. We wanted to have one place for all these NFTs to be supported at, and this is why we're working on all those integrations for NF Trade. But yeah, the main issue right now, as Andrea mentioned there earlier, is really all these blockchains, finding the right one that will have support for fast transactions and as well as keep the decentralization aspect of it, right? So there are really lots of different options these days, and there are really it's really unclear who's going to be the main winner in the space. Obviously, Ethereum right now seems to be the chain of choice of many projects. However, when it comes to scalability, they choose different chains. So it really is unclear what's going to happen. I think that's one of the main issues that should be solved before we will see mass adoption. But really, to just simplify, and this infrastructure shouldn't really be the problem of the users. And right now it really is. And if you're not familiar with all these technologies and all these different wallets and all these different things you have to handle, then you can't really go on to a metaverse right now. And so, whenever these issues will be solved, because they will, it just really takes time, then we're going to see a lot more adoption and a lot more users go on and try these.
I think there's some really interesting points there. I think from a user experience perspective, if we want to think about how are the next tens of millions and eventually hundreds and millions and eventually billions of users going to become users in the, or like participants in the metaverse, the user experience needs to cater for obviously very broad demographics of users. So today, maybe it's not that easy where users need to uh, install a browser extension wallet, obviously has to custody their own keys. That's still not a great user experience. So I think it's important that eventually that the choice is available for users. So ones that want to self custody and use their wallets, they can. Ones that want to have a web 2.0 experience, just like a login with their favorite social networks or email and password, also they can. So I think that's one of the kind of important areas where today is still catching up or still needs some improvements. And on the other side, I think also for the chain infrastructure, definitely scalability is kind of still a evolving area. There's a lot of different chain architectures being experimented with today with no real clear kind of winner in terms of architecture and design approaches yet. But those will be interesting to see how those infrastructures start to be able to scale to support large numbers of users. So this was super. This was a really great discussion. So I think we can. Would love to have a round to share any updates you'd like to about what the community can look forward to from your projects in the coming weeks and months, as well as where the listeners can go to keep up to date with the latest developments in your projects. Maybe we'll start with Leland.
Yeah, sure. Just like to share some thoughts in terms of what I believe decentral games will become and also metaverse will become. I think apart from gaming, metaverse will be one that converge a few different industries. The next big one I think gonna be music, work, and entertainment, which decentral games is also being involved. That's pretty exciting. And then in terms of the digital environment that offers possibilities that just can't be found or easily created in the real world, we can find in the central games. Right now, our users of over 100,000 per month active users, they come from different parts of the world. It's basically a cross-border nature of a metaverse that we are in right now. We allow just anyone to participate in it. It's very inclusive. And the play to earn movement basically benefit people from all walks of life, and many developing countries that actually been suffering from economic struggles, especially during this pandemic time. They're able to put food to table, and that's something that we're very proud of because that really carries a big social impact. What is also very exciting for us next is the mobile web version that is coming along we should be able to launch the beta very soon, and then broad launch it in probably 2 to 3 months. So but beta is coming up very soon, and then I hope our community or the listeners will stay tuned to it. Feel free to follow us on Twitter or visit our website at decentral.games.
That's awesome. Didn't know about the mobile browser version coming. Definitely looking forward to playing around on that.
Yes.
Thanks a lot. Andrea, would love to hear from you. Any closing thoughts, as well as any major news you'd like to share, what the community can look forward to from Second Live in 2022?
Absolutely. So, well, first of all, thank you for having us. And at Second Life, we try to become the open metaverse for everyone to come in and develop on. As of right now, if you can see in our websites, secondlife.world, you can already download our game. So we don't. Our game is actually an executable file that you can download in your computer. It doesn't matter if it's Mac or Windows. We support both. So we try to be as open as possible to every people around. And of course, yes, we are also working on a mobile version and VR AR version. So that's something to look on. But as you know, technology and these VR headsets, it's always not as easy to develop as the normal online and Windows and Mac version. So it's in the works, and probably we will have it online very soon. And actually, would like to before closing, I would like to also talk a little bit about where we see Second Life, where we see our platform in the future. So where do we see it as a platform as a whole, as an ecosystem? And we believe that in the future, the metaverse world, where people will be able to create content and products that can be exchanged and generate value. So we really want to emphasize this thing, and we believe that in the longer term, the metaverse will be more popular than the existence, and it will become more accepted to the general public. So it's not just going to be like right now. You have a lot of these. A lot of people maybe see it as games, as toys, as like some next generation game ecosystem. But we really think that this is where people will be interacting, where people will be exchanging ideas, where people will be doing maybe also even businesses on. So personally, I do think that in 5 years, metaverse will go mainstream and become part of the daily life of most people. And for now, we're just at the infancy. We're just at the start, guys. So stay tuned, because the metaverse is going to be here, and it's going to be here to stay, and it's going to have a lot of very different imaginations, very different sceneries, very different things that you're not going to be able to experience in the real world. So yeah, this is something that I'm super bullish and super looking forward to. This is going to be a very big thing, and I'm super excited to be working in this field at the moment. Hope you guys are as well.
Definitely. That's a very exciting vision for the future. I think almost all of the listeners, all of us, are like very well aligned and looking forward to seeing how that plays out. Xander, would love to hear from you, and what can we look forward to from Top Goal in the coming months? You already shared a little bit of insights, but would love to hear more details as well.
Of course. So we are having our new IPs because previously we have signed a lot of legends, which means they have millions of fans, but they are retired. They are not playing football anymore. And now we are signing a lot of players, famous ones, who are still playing in the top leagues or in the national teams. So we have new players joining our game. So that will be more fun and more choices for everyone who play that. And we are developing we are trying to make it like a manager game. It means that you have different choices of players, and you also have choices of tactics and formations and everything you need to know about football match. That means you can compete, and maybe you can win over your opponent by choosing the right strategy. And that is really cool about this one, because being a manager and win a match, maybe win the virtual World Cup or something like that, it really have the full fidelity of a football fan. And the other one is we are developing our marketplace and decentralized protocols, which can facilitate the connection between football players and with their fans in terms of trading the NFT assets. So in general, the current thing for us, like 2022 is reminds me like 100 years ago, 150 years ago, when people found there are so many particles like electrons, photons, different bosons, and neutrons. But like 45 years ago, people eventually find every particle of this one can be connected together, which is called the standard model of particle physics. So with what we are doing now, like Topgo is working on the football field topics and maybe even some other sports in the future. And different projects are working on different angles from the metaverse. And I believe eventually everyone can be connected together. Everyone can be unified. And that one will be the real future, the full form of metaverse. And I'm also looking forward to that.
That's very exciting. It looks like there's a lot of great things to look forward to from the top goal, like a lot of things in the product roadmap to look forward to. Thanks a lot for sharing these very exciting information and insights, Sander. Ori, I know you guys are working on a lot, like the NF Trade product development roadmap's quite spectacular. Would love to hear from you on what you can share with the community to look forward to in the coming weeks and months.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of stuff, and we wish we could release everything faster than we do. But yeah, lots of stuff happening. One thing I'm really excited about is actually a new way to trade NFTs that we're working on. It's basically giving it a more of a regular trading experience, unlike the regular what we're used to right now, when we have to select any NFT that we want to buy specifically and kind of either add it to a cart, or we're giving it a more of a traditional trading experience. More will be found out in the next couple of weeks when we release some of these screenshots. But I think it's going to add a lot of liquidity to the mix. And that's something that I'm excited about. Another thing is our launchpad that is launching very, very soon. This will allow participants to buy land and other metaverse NFTs in a pre-sale. So those that will be pretty exciting. Another thing is a 3D kind of NFT gallery that we will have for our premium marketplace. Basically, it's like a curated artist marketplace that NF Trade is opening, and really amazing artists will be on there. So there will be a VR experience for that gallery. So that's another thing that you should expect. And of course, more support for more blockchains. We have Solana integration coming. We have the Near protocol integration coming. We have Tezos integration coming. And those are just a few that are the major ones that I want to mention. So yeah, definitely lots of stuff. Keep following us on Twitter, NF Trade Official. Yeah.
That's super awesome. Very exciting. I know that for sure that's obviously one of the huge challenges for NFTs generally is around the liquidity, right? So like unlocking greater liquidity for NFTs through new innovations and tools going to be super exciting. Looking forward to learning more about that in the coming weeks. So thanks everyone for joining us. Really appreciate you. Big thanks to Lee Lin from Decentral Games, from our great friends Andrea and Second Life team, of course Xander and Top Goal team. Great to have you with us. And last but definitely not least, Ori and NF Trade team. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. Much appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you,
you.
Sammy.
Thank you,
Thank you so much.
Sammy. It's been great. It's been great.
Thanks a
Awesome.
lot.
Thanks a lot, guys. Bye. Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye bye.